hours in favor of developing sunshine toward the afternoon. Still be some clouds around, though. Temperatures today will reach the upper 20s. Tonight, partly cloudy, although we can't rule out a couple of flurries and snow showers, lows falling into the mid-teens.
Next on AM 1480 WLEA, Doogie and the Doctor.
All right, and good morning. Welcome to our Saturday edition of Doogie and the Doctor. I am Doogie. To my left is the notorious sports doctor, Brian Friedland. And we have a guest on our show today, Joe Liberto. Do you want to?
Well, Doogie, thanks for the notorious label. I like it. I haven't been called, I've been called a lot of things, but notorious is not one of them, and I sincerely appreciate it. Do we have a great guest today? We have off-the-charts great guest today. I had this fellow on my other show on another station, and I got so many positive feedbacks on him, I decided, he's a Hornell resident, and he possesses a skill that not too many have, a 6th degree black belt in the martial arts of karate. Karate, you say. It is Joe Liberto, but we're going to get to Joe just in a second here. There are a couple local scores, being a local station, that we'd like to go over.
Yes, we last night, we had Hornell beat Bath 41-23, which is always a good thing. I know you're Bath alumni.
Oh, yeah. Well, I go by the Bath section, and most of the fans now were students that I had when I taught there. But some of the coaches are Bath residents, and I shook their hand and, signed a few autographs. But I was at the game for the first half, and Brian Dyring, Hornell resident, is the Bath head coach, and he's going to have his work cut out this year. The kids can play game. They have skill, but they were not together. They were the chemistry just wasn't there. You know what the score was after the first quarter?
No.
3-2.
3-2 after the first quarter.
And you know who really broke the ice and got the Hornell on somewhat of a streak was a G-man, Dan Gladio's son, Jack. He hit a 3. And he was high score with 12 points. I mean, you score 43 points, so no one's going to be in the 30s. So G-Man's son played a good game, and Hornell played a tenacious defense. Bath only had 6 kids. One of their players, I think he's a starter, was hurt. They only have 6 guys on the varsity, and they were dragging. They were at least in the first half. So, anyways, Hornell's defense looked good. They were a little out of sorts at times. The first game of the year, And I didn't get a chance to run over to see Canisteo. Do you know anything about that game?
Well, yeah, I guess Canisteo Greenwood did beat Avoca. I guess reporting from our sports director, Casey Cameron, Canisteo Greenwood did really well last night. They beat Avoca 43-20. And we were going to bring you that game, but we had a mix-up, and for some reason they decided to do the varsity game before the JV game, so we couldn't bring it to you last night.
Actually, Bill, we had the second half.
Say it. Okay, yeah, we had the second half of the game. We sorry we didn't bring you the whole game, but anyways, Canisteo, we're two local winners last night in the Valley.
Yeah, well, from what I understand, also has their work cut out for him this year. A friend of mine, Steve Sutphin, is their head coach. First year, he'll learn the ropes as he goes along, but it's not going to be a state championship year for them. Now, one other thing in national news related to sport, of course, we all know that Nelson Mandela, a iconic figure in terms of freedom and what should I say? That
human rights, freedom, the whole.
Well, very good, Duke. Yeah, that's what I was looking for. Human rights. But in the world of sport, which was 24/7 on the sports channels, Jameson Winston, they did not find the quarterback who's the front runner for the Heisman Trophy on the undefeated Florida State Seminole team. They did not find enough evidence to charge him with rape or sexual assault. So he can sleep a little easier, I guess, at night. But I want to ask you, being a first-team All-American, I've never said this, have I?
No,
First-team All-American at Penn State and a former NFL player with 3 different teams in the USFL. Will this affect the voters, regardless, if he didn't find enough evidence, he was never charged, will it affect the voters for his Heisman Trophy possibility?
You know, that can go either way. Maybe of a few of them, yeah, but
so
I mean, it's not really. I mean, he's not been, convicted or found guilty. It could sway a few of them, yeah, but
so you're a betting man. He is supposedly the far front runner for this award.
Right?
Will he get it?
Right.
You have to give me a yes.
Yes. I think he will get it. But one other thing is, do you think that his situation, being the what are they, number 1 in the country right now, Florida State?
Yeah.
They are, and Ohio State's
Looks
number
like
2, right?
Ohio State, they went out there.
Ohio State beats Michigan State today, and they beat Duke. They beat Duke.
They'll beat Duke.
Then they're going to be 1 and 2 for the national championship.
Right.
Do you think that his position with Florida State and their position had anything to do with this case, you think?
Well,
how
they allegedly, supposedly, and I think it did happen. The police who were investigating at the time said, "You sure you want to go through this? You can make your life a living hell. You sure?" And of course, she backed off. Backed off, and then when it was reported, a reporter brought it to the forefront again, and then the case was pursued.
Right.
But you don't want to make it. You know what happened at Duke?
Right.
And that girl, by the way, was just
charged with murder.
I mean, come on.
I know it.
So, and this kid, Winston, does not have a history of breaking the law or anything like that. So, So it looks like, and according to you, he'll win the Heisman. And according to me, he'll be a top-level first-round draft choice in the NFL.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, so
now he's only a sophomore, isn't he?
He was a redshirt freshman.
Oh, he's a redshirt freshman.
So, yeah, he has got game.
More good things to come from that guy.
Yeah, got game unless he gets hurt. The Derrick Rose thing over at the NBA. So, are we going to take a short break? And then I can't wait to start asking questions.
We will look at Brian. Brian, do you want to take a break? All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with our guest, Joe Liberto.
Size Surefine Food Mart saves you money by being the most convenient supermarket. Parking is close to the front doors, and their variety-filled yet simple store layout helps you save time and money by not encouraging you to buy all those things not on your list. And their weekly specials are superb. Here's Larry Jones with just a few of this week's sale items.
Well, thank you, Stanley. Hey, this week at Size, folks, get ready for Christmas with Surefine whole boneless hams, just $1.99 a pound. Juicy, tender sirloin steaks, $3.98 a pound. Francisco Rinaldi spaghetti sauce and pasta sauce, 5 jars, $5. And Vitel Italiano assorted spaghetti and pasta. Get 2 1-pound bags for just $1.
Size Surefine definitely has the best meats in the Canastilla Valley with only U.S. raised beef. Cut right in their stores at either location, Arkport or Canastillo. Like them on Facebook or see their ad online at SizeSurefine.com. Thank you very much.
I never thought I had the time.
I never thought I had it in me.
I'm not trained to do that kind of stuff.
I always wanted to do more for my community.
So I took the first step. I joined my volunteer fire department.
It turned out to be one of the best decisions of my life.
Is there a fire in you? Do you have the commitment, the dedication, the drive to do something great? Go to www.fireinyou.org. Find out what it takes to be a volunteer firefighter, to be the one running in when everyone else is running out. The courage to act, the ability to perform. Not only do you get the satisfaction of helping others, but you get free training, tuition assistance, and other great benefits. Take the first step. Volunteer at fireinyou.org. That's fireinYOU.org. There's no greater reward than being the one to be counted on.
Brought to you by the Firemen's Association of the State of New York and funded by U.S. Department of Homeland Security.
Auction today at Hornell Do It Best. The final closeout auction, Everything Goes. Auction starts at 10 a.m. sharp till everything is gone, including displays and fixtures. Merchandise includes doors, inside and outside, storm doors, overhead doors, hand tools, electrical supplies, general merchandise, a flatbed truck, and a 2013 Chevy pickup, both with reserve. Auction today at Hornell Do It Best, starting at 10 a.m. sharp. Auction by Larry Fairman. Food by Milner's Southern Smoke. Hornell Do It Best, Route 70A, Hornell. The big auction, the final auction today, 10 o'clock.
Now, back to Doogie and the Doctor on AM 1480 WLEA.
All right, we are back. I am Doogie. with Brian Freeland this morning, and we have a special guest today, Joe Liberto, as Brian introduced him. Black belt, 6th degree.
Yeah, this is, we have people from the world of basketball, football. We will have people from the world of baseball, local, and hopefully some national celebrities down the road. But this is, I don't want to use the word ancillary, but it's off the beaten track sport. And he has reached a degree that most can only think of, and I used to watch David Carradine, yes, grasshopper. Yes, grasshopper. But in real life, he has reached that degree. And not only is he so proficient in the world of martial art, he is a great guy. You'd never know it, Joe. He's an easygoing, laid-back guy. So welcome to the show, Joe Liberto.
Well, good morning, gentlemen. I'm in awe here with Bill Dugan and Brian Friedland. Of course, I always come to this station and this program for my latest sports. I wouldn't go anywhere else.
That. I know. Yes. You have followed. You followed me on the other program. But Joe, 6th degree black belt. To educate the listening audience, give us a background, how it started with you, and the type of martial art. There's different types of karate. I watched Karate Kid and Kung Fu and all that. But in real life, the type of karate you're in. But so go back, and it's a great story. Tell the listening audience how you all got started.
Well, this goes back 40 years ago. Now you got to think the 70s. Martial arts wasn't popular. I mean, it was basically, martial arts back then was basically in a dark alley, some third-story apartment that was converted to, well, you might call it a studio, but the furniture was taken out, and usually it was some kind of, either an Asian from Japan or China doing this weird stuff up there. Now, I didn't know anything about it. The only thing I saw was what I saw on television. If you remember back then, you had I Spy with the guys doing a little karate there. Yeah. And then you had, what was it, the Green Hornet? What Bruce Lee was on?
Well, Bruce Lee was a Green Hornet. He was Kato.
Yes, and you saw that, but that's about it. He
wasn't the Green Hornet. He was the sidekick of the Green Hornet. Yeah.
But you didn't see the martial arts like you do today in every fight scene in every movie. I mean, now every fight scene is martial art based. But back then, I was exposed to it because I worked in the south side of Binghamton. There was a rough part of Binghamton. I was a parking lot attendant for kind of an exclusive kind of plaza, a bunch of exclusive stores. And we had quite some characters coming in and trying to park there, and I'd have to keep them out. I have to park cars.
You're how old?
And I'm like 17, right? But there's these bunch of guys running a 7-Eleven shop in there, and they're into this martial arts. And they kept saying, hey, buddy, with the characters you're dealing with here, you ought to come in and watch and look at what we're doing. Or say, what's that? Oh, we're part of this karate club, down in, Front Street, which is not a nice section of town.
Now this is Binghamton.
This is Binghamton. I'm sorry. Okay,
good.
Binghamton, New York. That's where I'm from. And, and that's where most martial arts schools were. They were usually in a rough part of town. So they brought me in. I saw what was going on. I couldn't believe it. I thought, this is for me. I've done some of the traditional sports. Nothing, where I could say I had success in it. So here's a 17-year-old skinny guy going in and starting the martial arts because at the time, coming up through the school, Union Endicott and Binghamton, it was kind of a nutty time back there. Got in a lot of fights, street fights and stuff like that. I won some, lost more probably. And so I thought, hey, this was a great thing to get into to learn how to fight. I didn't go in for the philosophy. I didn't go in for the training and the fitness and all that. I wanted to know how to fight. And that's how I got started. And the little place in Binghamton that eventually moved to Vestal, a master from Japan, Heidi Ochai. He taught a Japanese style called Washinaru. All right, we used to call it wash and wear behind his back. Of course, we never let him know that. This guy was like maybe 4'8", just breaking 5, maybe just under 5 feet, and this guy was doing amazing stuff. And so I started to, take lessons from him. And I was with him for 2 years until I came, about 2 years. And then I came here to Alfred State College. And there was an amazing martial art program starting up at Alfred State College run by Bob Eller, and which was a real entirely different style. The martial arts that I took with this Idiochai was a Japanese style that was an equal emphasis on self-defense, fighting, and this art form or dance form called kata. Now, I could care less about the self-defense and the art form. I wanted to know how to fight. Then I got up here with Bob Eller, and it was all about fighting. And I thought, I really met my, heaven here. And so Bob really introduced me to fighting more than any other martial art.
So you went to Alfred College. What did you initially go for? Obviously, that's not what you...
No, I was in agricultural science.
Agricultural science, yeah. And you decided to take it on the side?
Take it on the side. And that's basically how my martial art experience went along for a lot of years. You basically, trained in the evening because that's when the classes were offered. And I trained in Binghamton, Alfred, Buffalo, Rochester, Syracuse, and also I went to the University of Georgia, and they had a great school down there. That was a great experience.
Georgia before or after Alfred State?
It was after Alfred State, and that was a unique experience, too, because now we're talking mid-'70s, and the martial arts is starting to explode on the scene, and you're going from this traditional kind of martial art to a kind of martial art that was mixed with boxing. And kickboxing was starting to come out, like you see with the mixed martial arts now.
Well, that's what ESPN primarily had. You remember that? It was kickboxing, with I forgot the guy's name that would be the host a lot of that at that time.
But kickboxing was not for everyone, just like mixed martial arts. I mean, it looked, when the stuff hits TV, television, and the movies, you think it's for everyone. But you had the traditional martial arts was kind of within a set of rules, and it was safe, and you didn't get hurt a lot. But kickboxing was for those individuals in any school or club, if they offered it, for the crazies, for the ones that wanted to go a little bit further. Because if you're taking the martial arts for learning how to fight, you're taking it because you want to know if the stuff works out on the street or not. And I'll be quite honest, a lot of the martial arts is, a good fitness kind of exercise routine and whatever, but a lot of it isn't practical. It really isn't. But the kickboxing did test whether the stuff was going to work, because you were really hitting each other. You were really learning how to take a punch. So the club that I joined at the University of Georgia brought in trained boxers because they know how to box in the martial arts. So now we got out of these traditional big stances, the way you place your feet and all that traditional martial arts taught you. But what the problem with that was you were usually slow and immobile. You couldn't move around a lot. Boxers had great footwork. So they brought these boxers in, mixed it up with some karate, and there was a whole new sport and art. And I still remember this. Now, I'm at the University of Georgia. We're in the nice big gyms there. You're doing the typical karate stuff and whatever. And then the instructor comes over. I don't know, maybe he recognizes craziness or something. And he goes, "Would you like to come up on Saturday morning to our club in town?" Well, yeah, sure. He goes, "Well, we do a little bit more than we do here. It's a little bit more intense." I go, "Yeah, I'll try it out." Get up there. It's 9 o'clock in the morning. All right, he wants me up there at 9 o'clock. Now, for a college student, for a young guy, that's early. In Georgia, it's hot. It's already 90 degrees. You get in there, and you got the fans going up there, and it's humid, and there's just about 8 of us. That's it. And this big guy, as big as Doogie here, comes out. His name is Lawrence Huff. All right? But he's just a big guy, you don't see much muscle on him. It's just big. He's probably 400 pounds and flat. That's what I'm thinking, right? And the instructor goes, "You got to learn from him today." What's he going to teach? The guy's going to be slow. He's not going to be able to kick. What's he going to do? He's going to teach you kickboxing. Oh, great. So they send me out there because I'm the rookie. Why don't you go out there with him? Now, they call him the Claw, and I'm not sure why they call him the Claw. So I go, okay. All right, I'm thinking, hey, I've been in this for a couple of years. Big guy like that, I'm going to be fast. I'm going to go in and out, and I'm not going to get caught because I don't want that guy wrestling with me. He's going to kill me, right? And he can't be that powerful. It's more than flab or whatever. So I get in there, get up close to him, and I nail him with a good right punch, right in the solar plexus. It's like punching a water bag. I just remember my hand going in there and getting lost somewhere and not doing anything, right? And he's just looking at me and smiling. And I get out of there and I try it again. The next time I go in there and try it, this big hand comes out and grabs my shoulder. I get caught. And all of a sudden, I can't feel anything, all right? And it's like slow motion. It's like being dragged into a buzzsaw or something. And I see myself getting dragged into this guy and this huge hand coming up to my face. And all I know now is I'm on the floor wanting to retch and trying to get off. And they're all laughing in the corner over there. And I look over there and they're like, that's why we call him the Claw.
Did he cork you a good one?
Oh, a good one. Yeah, I got up eventually, but he corked me a couple of times, and I still got, the guy was amazing. But I learned a lot from that guy. I learned how to fight inside, and it was a rough ordeal going up there every Saturday morning.
So, Joe, let's go back to Alfred. You ended up at the university, right? That's where you got your degree from Georgia back up north. Excuse me.
Now, I just want to interject here real quick. Now, while you were attending Alfred, did you attain your first black belt?
That's where it was, yes. It was about 4 years of training. Usually in good martial arts schools, it takes 4 years of training.
Yeah, just for our listening audience, go through the belts real quick. And
when you start out, you're considered a novice, and you're a novice until you get your black belt. You're not really considered a serious student until you get your black belt. That's when they consider you more of I'd say a true student of martial arts. Up until then, the traditionalist instructor will look at you as a novice and you're just trying this thing out. But usually it takes a year to go up through the belts. You get a yellow, a green, a blue, a purple, and a brown, and a black. And you give that a year apiece on the average, so 4 to 5 years. And then after that, your serious training really starts. And what you do is you try to specialize in one part of the martial arts. Maybe you want to specialize in fighting. Maybe you want to specialize in this performance art of karate called kata, And you can compete at tournaments on a weekly basis. Maybe you want to specialize in self-defense or weaponry. I like specializing in fighting. That's what I wanted. That was my thing. So it took about 4 to 5 years, got my black belt, and I started working with the school in Alfred. I became one of their lead instructors. Bob Eller, who really came up with the unique style that is practiced there to this day. Elise Flynn, Walt Mackney, and a host of other black belts do a great job continuing the program. It's been there since 74. So we are celebrating our 40th anniversary next year of being up there 4 years. So anyway, make a long story short, Bob left the area, and by 79, 80 is when I took over the school, and me and a bunch of other black belts helped kind of escalate and take that school to another level. And what we did was, a lot of us came from other styles too, so we incorporated a lot of different styles into our style and created a nice kind of format for a school that was probably harbored 200 students a year.
Well, I was part of it.
And you were one of them.
Yes, I was part of it, and I do remember Bob Eller. Dugie, he was the quintessential looking karate instructor. A good-looking guy. He had curly hair. And when he walked into the studio, there was kind of a silent hush. And there was a tremendous respect. He's a great guy. And he just fit the part. Yeah. And of course, I was one of the old. I was like 29 when I was doing. A lot of them were students and so on. And I got to know him. I really, really liked him. And then I continued to take it. And Joe was the instructor and he used to yell at me. Yeah.
All right, listen. We're going to take another quick break, and we'll be back with Joe, and we'll be back with Brian and myself right after these quick messages.
AM 1480 WLEA, Cornell.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The American who's just been freed by North Korea after being held for more than a month says what he really wants.
Go home and see my wife.
War veteran Merrill Newman now reportedly on his way.
North Korea says it deported Newman, claiming he admitted wrongdoing and apologized, and because of his age. Newman also takes heart medication. Newman was heading home from a 10-day tour of North Korea when he was removed from a plane more than a month ago.
Fox Radio's Pat O'Neill. Defense Secretary Chuck Hagel in Afghanistan saying the defense minister there is offering reassurances that a security deal will be signed in a timely manner. And an emergency order issued by the Federal Railroad Administration after that deadly derailment in New York City, which left 4 dead. Metro North has till Tuesday to identify places in its system with major speed changes. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Well, today we'll see snow showers moving out through the morning hours in favor of developing sunshine toward the afternoon. Still be some clouds around, though. Temperatures today will reach the upper 20s. Tonight, partly cloudy, although we can't rule out a couple of flurries and snow showers, lows falling into the mid-teens. It'll be partly sunny on Sunday, temperature of 30, but then Sunday night we'll see snow developing after midnight, mixing with freezing rain toward dawn, temperature of 25. And then Monday, some freezing rain in the morning, should turn over to rain by afternoon with a temperature of 42 degrees. So it will be slippery late Sunday night into the first part of Monday.
Auction today at Hornell Do It Best. The final closeout auction, everything goes. Auction starts at 10 a.m. sharp till everything is gone, including displays and fixtures. Merchandise includes doors, inside and outside, storm doors, overhead doors, hand tools, electrical supplies, general merchandise, a flatbed truck, and a 2013 Chevy pickup, both with reserve. Auction today at Hornell Do It Best, starting at 10 a.m. sharp. Auction by Larry Fairman. Food by Milner's Southern Smoke. Hornell Do It Best, Route 70A, Hornell. The big auction, the final auction today, 10 o'clock.
Now, back to Doogie and the Doctor on AM 1480 WLEA.
All right, we are back. We are here. We are talking to 6th degree black belt Joe Liberto. Quick question, Joe. We were talking about this over break. What are the similarities between this? Ultimate Fighting now is really big, and like we were talking about, is taking over boxing. Can you kind of tell us about the transition and how the similarities and how?
Well, mixed martial arts, Ultimate Fighting. Really, that says a lot, because back when I was first introduced to it, and for a lot of years, you couldn't mix the martial arts. Martial arts was steeped in secrecy for a long time, and it was territorial. I mean, for you to cross over into another style would be bedlam in your own experience. I mean, because I experienced it myself. In fact, I'll give you a short story. When I moved from Binghamton in the Vestal area, and I moved away from training with Heidi Ochai and came up here and learned all this other great stuff. And that's the unique thing about Bob Eller and Alfred. He was open to other styles, practicing with you, because, hey, it's a college community. You're going to get people from all around. But that was not the case in most urban situations. They're really protective of their own knowledge, their own people. They didn't want you going to other people. Didn't like that. So a couple years later, I come back to train with Ochai, and he's like reluctant to let me in, because I said, listen, I've been training with this style. And well, okay, we'll try out. So I get in there, and now I'm coming back with much more experience. And here I am really staying up with their black belts. I'm just 2-3 years in. Their black belts are 4 or 5 years, and I shouldn't be scoring points and really doing well with them. So all of a sudden, there's like 80 people in this class. Now, I had a good relationship with this guy. He tells me, hey, you, sit down. Calls you punk sometimes when he doesn't like you, punk. Sit down. You fight like punk. I said, what? Now, here I had a great relationship with this guy. So he says, he points to his right-hand man. Every dojo has a right-hand man, a hatchet man, to make sure things are going smooth. So he calls me up to go tit for tat for this guy, right? Well, I know there's not something right here, okay? So this guy's pummeling me now more than you would normally do in one of these schools, because this is a professional studio. And before you know it, I'm on the floor, and I'm looking up, and here's Ochai, nose to nose with me, looking at me going, there's only one sun in the sky, meaning you should only be practicing with me. I mean, now that's how it was. All right, and I literally, all of a sudden after that, here I am floating off the floor, because a couple of his guys are lifting me out, and just like in the movies, you see him throwing me out the door, and then afterwards I look around going, what's going on? And all of a sudden, here comes my gym bag out with it, and I got the message that I shouldn't have been practicing with another style. Now today, that's not the case. Yeah. Today, everybody practices with everybody. It's they found out it's a moneymaker when you do that. Why be so selective like that? Mixed martial arts draws on all kinds of martial art forms. It draws on judo, which is the wrestling part of the martial arts. It draws on kickboxing, the boxing part, and it draws on the kicking part. So that's what you see today, and I think that's why people really like the mixed martial arts, because they see everything. You get to see guys wrestle, you get to see guys box, you get to see guys do karate.
Yeah, it's very intense.
And I think boxing helped it become popular, because when you watch a boxing match, it's just not exciting anymore. The matches aren't good, and the talent isn't there anymore. It's moving over to mixed martial arts, and who doesn't like? It's the closest thing to a street fight. What guy doesn't like watching a brawl? You know what I mean? And I think that's what makes it unique. Not only do you get to see professional brawling, but you really, if you've been in any kind of street fight, that's how it goes down. What goes down in that cage, that's how it goes down. The only difference is you don't have, if you're fighting this other guy, you don't have their buddies kind of, root them on, or girlfriends too. They're the worst. If you're in a street fighter brawl, you got to get the girls out of there, because don't make a guy stay in there and brawl more. Even though he doesn't want to stay in there and brawl, but if girlfriends are around, they'll stay in.
Yeah. When it first started, and we're getting a little off the subject, but when Ultimate Fighting first started, they were barroom brawlers. Yeah. This mixed martial arts, and there was Tank somebody and this Indian guy, and they would break arms. It was out of control until this Dana White came in, cleaned it up, gave it rules and regulations.
That's exactly what it did. Because in the beginning, there wasn't, much technique involved there. Now you really see some good fighting, but it's got the brawling aspect in it, and I think that's why it's taken off.
And then, of course, if you have to submit, you tap out. The kids are wearing the tap out T-shirts and so on.
Right, but nobody if you look at it, if you ask guys, they don't like the tapping out thing. They want to see someone knocked out. Because collisions are better than tapping out. A tap out's kind of like, a nice gentleman way of saying,
well, you can choke them.
Cry uncle, Yeah. But it's not as visceral as seeing a knockout or a collision or whatever.
Right.
Now, you know what they need to get, though? They need to get the women involved. Because if you watch women brawl, they're even more interesting, because they're very vocal about what they're doing. The guys, they fight, they don't say a lot. But when women brawl, if you've seen a good brawl of
the women boxing is more exciting than the men.
Like out in a barroom scene or whatever. They're throwing, profanity around like.
A few happen on Loader Street occasionally.
That's the fun stuff. I think they should get the women involved.
I got to ask you just real quick. Have you ever had to use any of your skills in real life? Has anybody ever approached you in
a limited way? You'll get these. Now they use Heidi Ochai's. Phrase of punks. You get these punks coming in off the street when you're teaching, and they want to see what you can do. Oh yeah, and I've had guys come in while I'm teaching. Man, come on out, And one guy, or a couple of guys, they come out, and you've got to throw them down, and you've got to show them that who's boss.
But Joe,
but I'll tell you, there was again, I usually don't like mentioning this, but it was in Elmira,
Elmira.
It was a long time ago. It was in I was out with a bunch of my black belt buddies, which I think was funny, because here we are. We're in a bathroom. There's two of us in a bathroom. The other one's out having a drink. And all of a sudden these guys come in, and they're I'm glad they're drunk. The drunk ones are easy to deal with. But all of a sudden they start giving us the problem because we're not of the neighborhood, right? So it was almost like a Jackie Chan movie. I mean, we're using the bathroom stalls and the doors to add to our way of dealing with it. And we look at it, and then the other guy, our third friend, comes in and goes, "What's going on?" I go, and he realizes what's going on. He gets into it. So there's three of us, 4 or 5 of them. They go down easily. And we look at each other and go, "Hey, this stuff works. This is fun." Well, I think we ought to get out of here.
On the softer side of karate,
Yes.
A parent, they have the schools in Hornell and in Alfred and so on, and a parent brings his 7-8-year-old child, and I want you, Joe Liberto, 6th degree black belt, to convince the mother that karate is a wonderful thing for your son or daughter to take up.
It is, and I've been concentrating on the nuttier side of it.
Yeah.
I've been concentrating. There's always been this darker side to the martial arts, and in a professional studio, and that's the other thing, it's moved to a real professionalism. It's more of a health and fitness form. It still retains the elements of self-defense and in the martial art and fighting in the art form of it, but really for kids and adults, it really provides a nice format to introduce kids in a real safe way. The art of discipline, the art of following instructions, just getting in line, going through these maneuvers. And I think it sets the stage if they get them in young enough, 5, 6, 7 years old. If they don't continue on with it after a couple of years, it really sets the stage for a great coordination to play Western sports, to play Nordic. And that's what happened a lot.
Sports. I like Western sports.
Well, I mean, in our programs up in Alfred, I would say out of 200-300, and when I was doing it, my crew and I certified 50 black belts.
Wow.
All right, for my total time up there, from the early 70s to when I retired in 1996. So, and we had maybe 200 students a year, so maybe 1 in 300 would make it to a black belt. Okay? But all the others that didn't really set the stage for them in kind of setting the pace for their own focused discipline, or whether they wanted to play other sports or whatever. But today, as it has been, the bread and butter of any martial arts school are the kids. Probably 80% of the people taking the martial arts, all right, are anywhere from 5 years old to 14, 15 years old. And then you have your smaller adult population. But it's a great way. It's a safe way to do that. Now, what I was talking about previously, is the what I consider the fun, darker side.
The dark side.
There was always that coming up through. But any good school would have a special section for those. You'd have a kickboxing section. Not anybody could go to that class. The rest of the school was run professionally in a studio-like atmosphere.
Well, I'm sorry, Doogie. I have a nephew who is a wonderful one. He's an only child of my younger sister and her husband, and he's just but he's not a gifted athlete.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been taking karate since a young kid, and he's now, in his style, achieved a brown belt. And you can just see this is his baby. This is his thing. It gives him a wonderful sense of self-worth and a purpose, because he didn't, in basketball, football, baseball, these conventional sports, he didn't have it. But he has it in this, whatever, and he took it up young. And to him, and he's such a nice, polite kid. I'm so happy for him because of the martial arts. The other thing, and I look at Doogie and you and someone like Bill, he can walk into a place and he's a big guy, and there's always somebody, look at that. I don't want to use the words, it's a family program.
Yeah.
And yourself. But having this level of a degree of martial arts, a 6th degree, it must give you, in this world that we live in, a sense of confidence. You don't feel like, unless someone pulls a weapon on you or something like that, but you were weaponry too, a sense of self-confidence. You just, no matter where you go, you feel confident.
Well, I think aside from the physical aspect of it, of becoming a good athlete through this sport, you're right. You bring up a good point. The emotional and the mental part of it is something that I really think was the bigger part of me coming up through. As a young kid coming up through, I was the tall, skinny guy with a chip on his shoulder. Maybe that's why I got into fights, But what the funny thing was, after I started taking it, and then when I become responsible for my own school, and it was never close to becoming a fight most of the time. I know it changed me. I know it changed my whole idea about it. And you do really learn that the unique thing about this is you have a reverence for life. People think, oh, yeah, get in it because I want to punch people out and all that. But when you're in the heat of a fight with another person across from you, and you're looking and you're throwing these kicks and punches that can deliver 800 pounds of force per square inch. That's a little physics in there.
Yeah, whoa.
But when you're in there and you're in a 20-minute fight, and all that can happen is you slip on a little bead of sweat or you make the wrong move, you can literally kill somebody, but you don't. And when you get to that edge, there's some kind of common bond between you and your opponent and yourself. You learn, you learn this reverence for life, that you're both holding each other's life in your hands, but you're doing this beautiful thing. You're having this great fight.
Well, your type of competition, I mean, you were never outside of Georgia in the backwoods and the Steven Seagal. And the
right, I did kickboxing down in Georgia, but it was and then I found that that was a bit too much to stay into and I don't know how boxers do it. I had to go 3-minute rounds in this amateurish kickboxing, and literally I'm 21, 22. It takes you 2 weeks to recover from something like that because of the pump. You know how you feel after a game.
After some game.
Yes.
But I was going to say, the other type of competition in the martial arts is what you bring up the Karate Kid, where you make slight contact.
Yeah, and it's a tag game, and it's not full contact.
No. And I remember a tournament at Alfred, and they had Billy Blanks there.
Yes.
Billy Banks? Banks. He was there. And that's when I was taking it up, and he didn't even win. Somebody beat him, but it's just you make a move and you make contact with a certain body part. It's not full contact.
No,
but you entered a lot of those types.
Yes, there's target areas that you go for, and you deliver these kicks and punches, at the same speed and power that you would if you're going to hit someone, but you don't make contact with it. And that's equally hard.
Yeah.
I do. But there's no compare. Those are nice contests for people who don't want to go into that other area of the martial arts. You don't want people really dealing with that end of it, because you have to learn how to take pain. If you're going to deliver pain, you got to learn how to take it when it comes to full contact.
Do you have any? Oh, do you want to?
Yeah, I just got a quick question for him. For our listening audience, probably now, if somebody out there has a kid or a son or a daughter that wants to get involved, like you said, when you got involved, it was kind of like a back alley kind of type, closed door. What do you know what our area offers as far as? Right. You could actually go all the way up to your level at Alfred and tell our audience how to, what we offer around there.
In Alfred, again, Elise Flynn is the master instructor up there along with Walt McNee. They offer a number of martial arts styles. She and he have a great kids program. They're right off. They're next. They're on the
right hand side as you
right here.
Past Alfred Station.
Yeah,
between Alfred Station and the university.
Yeah, just down from the gas station up there. And you can. She has a great website. You can AlfredMartialArts.com, and you can access that, or you can just give her a call. And they run evening classes every night.
And you don't have to be a student or anything. This is for anybody that wants to get involved.
Because her school, as the school has always done, is catered to tech, university, and community people. And she's got quite a drawing up there and does a great job.
I think, didn't the Y offer something?
It did a while back. I think it offers Tai Chi now, which is a very, it's a gentle, more older person type of
I'd remiss my neighbor down the street, Greg Georgiak, has the Stengler
Yeah, he and she have a school up there, too.
Right on the Seneca Road North.
Yeah,
up there. So there's that also for kids and so on. I want to really get into the besides the kick sand in your face, get your black belt and beat everybody up.
I hope I didn't make him.
No.
That's what it's about. I just like that side of it.
Sure you do. We know, Joe. I've known you for a long time. I know the nutty side of you. I mean, come on. Something. I will say this: you'd never know that this guy possessed this skill because he's such a laid-back, nice guy.
Because when I was operating the school, I mean, I catered. 99% of the population was kids, professional people. I had a 89-year-old guy training with me. and as young as 4 years old, you know. But there were those guys that would come in and they wanted something else. Now, I could have said that, forget it, we don't deliver that, right? But I liked that part of it, too. So I always had that special quiet section off to the side. I didn't mean to dwell on that, but...
Yeah. Okay, listen, we're going to take our last break, and we're going to come right back here with Doogie and the Doctor in just a couple minutes.
AM 1480 WLEA Hornell.
Hey, pal, can you give me directions to the Hall of Fame?
Sure. Just get a map and find Cooperstown.
No, wait. I mean the people who wash, wax, and make your car look like new.
Oh, that Hall of Fame. Well, it's in Hornell on the corner of Pine and Canisteo. And you're right. They make your car look like new. Best detailing in the Southern Tier. And Tyrone Hall will be happy to cut your hair while you wait. Or you can just drop off your car and return to find it looking just like the day it came out of the showroom.
You seem to know a lot about the Hall of Fame.
Sure do, because that's where I take my car. Tyrone staff treats your car just like it's one of their own.
Got a telephone number?
661-9008. 661-9008.
Are you ready for a fresh new idea for Christmas gift giving? Tired of the same old thing? Well, here's a spectacular idea. Gift boxes from Wilson Beef Farms. Gift boxes all made up for someone on your list. Wilson Beef Farms lets you choose from gift boxes nicely packaged for holiday giving. And they're affordable. Each box contains meats and smoked products of the highest quality from Wilson's own facility. So you know you're giving the best quality meat you can buy. Try something different this year. Give the gift of beef and other quality meats from Wilson Beef Farms. Give one of Wilson's exceptional gift boxes. You know, the toughest part is choosing which box to give because each sounds so good. They raise, process, and age their beef the old-fashioned way at Wilson Beef Farms, using no hormones, no chemicals, no additives of any kind. It's simply the best beef you've ever tasted. That's Wilson Beef Farms, Hess Road, Cancerega. Make someone holly jolly this Christmas. Give them a gift box from Wilson Beef Farms.
Now, back to Doogie and the Doctor on AM 1480 WLEA.
All right, we're back. Doogie and the Doctor, last half of our show. Brian, you
last half. I think we got 7 minutes. With
7 minutes. Last quarter, maybe then?
Yeah. Again, we're here with Joe Liberto. He's a Hornell resident, and we have stayed local for the most part with a lot of coaches and players and so on at the university and in the Hornell area. But he's a Hornell resident that possesses a 6th degree black belt in the martial arts of karate. And he has told us about the dark side, the great side, and every side of the martial arts, the good, bad, and the ugly. But I want to ask him, and Doogie, you might be interested in this too, that we watch on TV these famous, supposedly actors, martial artist actors. You have Chuck Norris, Steven Seagal. At one time, of course, Bruce Lee was the epitome. David Carradine, Bigfoot Wallace?
Bigfoot.
Yeah. But let's take one at a time here. Chuck Norris, was he proficient?
Very proficient. In fact, if you know anything about the motion and just the technique in itself, he's in one of Bruce Lee's movies.
Yes.
And they've got this great fight scene in the Coliseum in Rome.
Yep.
All right. It starts off choreographed, but the last 2 minutes of that fight scene, 3 minutes, they're going at it. I mean, you could see, I remember watching it for the first, because I never watched any of those things. I'm like, oh my God, this is getting good now. And I asked him about that because I met him. He was a VIP at a Buffalo tournament. A lot of these karate tournaments, all right, will sometimes get a very important person in, you know.
Like
and he had Chuck Norris, but he was in the suit and tie. And I was standing.
He's not a big guy.
No, he probably comes up to my shoulders, all right? And someone said, hey, would you like to meet Chuck Norris? Sure. I looked around. I didn't even recognize him at first. Small frame. And he was a nice guy and whatever. And I said, hey, I got to ask you something. You know, that Enter the Dragon scene, whatever. He goes, well, he said, egos the way they are. It got kind of nutty. And so we thought we'd just continue on. And the director was smart enough to let the cameras roll. And he said they kept parts of it in there. So I was impressed with that. But a very nice guy. And he was accomplished because before he got into acting, he had a slew of, in the Midwest, a slew of Taekwondo schools. He was very good at that, very good in the tournaments and all that.
And what about Steven Seagal?
Steven Seagal.
Does he have...
Whose name was really pronounced Steven Seagal before he got famous. But believe it or not, up in Elfrid, there's a woman black belt that trains with Elise Foot and Dean Hoover. She had the opportunity to train with him over in Japan.
Wow.
And she said he's the real deal. He's the guy that liked being on the dark side. Because what he would do is get a bunch of guys from the school, go out in the evening and hang out in the back alleys and just look for the stuff to really refine what he was doing. So you see him, you watch him in the movies. He's the real deal as far as all that.
Not the greatest actor, he and Chuck, but because people, when they go to the movies, they want to be entertained. You want to cry, you want to laugh.
Right.
There's violence that turns a lot of people on, and that part of acting, the martial arts, is very, very, very popular.
Yeah, Van Damme. You forgot to mention.
And that, I guess the recent commercial is real, right?
He's considered the pretty boy
Yeah.
of the martial arts. He's the most technically sound. He's the one. He'll in a lot of the karate scenes to make it more exciting. They'll show you the beginning of it and the end of it, but not the middle, because all the stuff they do in the middle is kind of boring and it slows the scene down. Not him. They show him in slow motion because he's so technically correct, technique-wise. It's a beauty to watch him through the whole motion. He's got everything in place. He looks like an Olympic athlete going through the motion.
Does.
So that's,
I remember him in Bloodsport. He was pretty...
Bloodsport.
Do you remember that movie in 1988?
Yeah.
Oh, geez.
But if you look at Seagal's stuff, Seagal, sorry, you'll see him set it up and start with the guy, and then you don't see the whole motion in between. All of a sudden, there's someone laying on the floor, and he's finishing him off. Because the stuff in the middle doesn't look as pretty, but this guy looks pretty all the way through.
Now, we have about 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Did David Carradine have skill?
He had acting skill.
Yes.
And they pretty much kind of taught him the martial arts as they went around. If you watch those shows, that's truly a good example of, they'll show the setup and they'll show them, but they don't show what's in between because it's just not that good, you know. But Bruce Lee was supposed to have that role, you know.
Oh, I didn't know.
Yeah, they just, at the time, and again, this was a documentary about Bruce Lee.
Now, would Bruce Lee be considered the top of Mount Rushmore of martial artists? Is he still...
Especially for his time, because he was one of the first traditionalists to break away from the traditional training and use boxing and use wrestling and use athleticism in the martial arts. It wasn't confined to the tradition of some of the stuff that wasn't really effective unless, you know, you're dealing with the same people.
Well, listen, we're right down to the end of it. We've really appreciated having Joe on, and I just want to announce for the coming up this week for this little push for Casey Cameron in our sports department. Thursday, we're going to carry the girls Hornell versus York basketball game, and that's going to be at 7 p.m. on WLEA. And then Friday, we're going to carry a doubleheader. We're going to carry Hornell versus Livonia at 7:30 on WLEA, and at 7:30, we're going to carry the Canisteo Greenwood versus Prattsburgh game, and that's going to be on CKR.
Well, that's nice to know, and I'd also like to thank our guest today.
Yeah, thanks,
Sixth-degree black belt Joe Liberto, retired teacher and retired Little League baseball coach.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So long, everybody.
Take care. Bye.